Today, I'd like to talk about the importance of social justice in a society. I myself have been greatly influenced by some great thinkers when I was at Oxford, and there were some great moral philosophers there, and they spoke about theories of social justice that had a profound effect on my own thinking, and I will convey some of these thoughts to you. The first idea is that um, poverty is like being punished for a crime you did not commit. Let me give an example. The child that is born in the slums of Dhaka today, and the child that is born in a palatial home in Gulshan, their lives will diverge in two different directions. The slum dweller will live a life of hunger, of deprivation from proper schooling, from deprivation from health care. And what crime did that slum child commit to be born there? I mean, at the moment of birth, they're absolutely innocent children. And this is the way of the world, people will say. This is how it is. Yes, but where there is injustice, where there is hardship, I believe it is the government's duty to reduce that hardship of the people. It is a duty. It's not just something they do as an afterthought. It is their duty to reduce the hardship and suffering of people. There's another aspect to this social justice. We have only one really significant resource in Bangladesh, and that is people. We have lots of them. And that resource, if we mismanage it, it's really our fault. It's not anyone else's fault. And as a nation, I think we're mismanaging our resources. Our best and brightest are unrecognized and untutored. Let me give you a concrete example. A friend of mine who's a MIT-trained geneticist was telling me that mathematical genius is distributed in a society randomly. In other words, Allah chooses someone to be mathematically gifted. You have no role in determining this. So, for example, if there's a professor, a maths professor, and his wife's also a mathematician, their children will be above average in maths, but they will not necessarily be maths geniuses. Maths genius is randomly distributed. To give you a concrete example, he found a young girl of, I think, 14, who was working in one of the tea gardens in Bahubol, in Hobiganj in Sylhet, and found that she was able to solve, without any pen and paper, difficult problems in string theory and number theory effortlessly. She could multiply 6 digits by 5 digits and do string theory problems without really thinking about them very seriously. He identified her as a mathematical genius, but her parents were horrified. They said, she's earning good money, 30 taka a day, for picking tea leaves. What is the use of this education for her? So I don't know the final, how that ended up, where that girl ended up. But if she was born in a country with some understanding of these issues, such as Germany, for example, she would have been quickly identified as a maths prodigy, and she would have been given a chance to study at the best places for mathematics, and perhaps been a professor by the age of 20. Maths geniuses, usually their big discoveries are between the age of 15 and 25. So she would have been a professor maybe at the age of 20. Now, how many geniuses, how many talented boys and girls do we have in our fields looking after goats? I don't know, but I suspect it's quite a large number, because we are unable to identify them, and as a country, as a state, we are unable to give them the education to fulfill their real potential. And this is the fault of the government. Now, okay, our government's not very educated, they're just focused on looting the country. I know all the problems, but there is a need for a vital sort of focus on education and education for all. Another problem that has emerged, and it creates injustice socially, is the gap between those who study in English and those who study in Bangla. Access to the wider world computer manuals, programming manuals, everything is in English. And it's very difficult to operate without some knowledge of English. Now, we are creating a society where there's a Bengali medium and an English medium. The English medium get the best jobs and the best opportunities and the best chances to study abroad, and the Bengali medium live in the country and are forced to take lower paying jobs. And that is not right. We shouldn't create this dichotomy in our society. We need to improve the standard of English even in the Bengali medium schools. And I am as respectful as anyone of the Bengali language. My father went to jail in the 1952 language movement. He actually went to jail for it. He was a few rows behind the people who were killed in that day at the university. And he was a Bengali nationalist to the core, but he also believed very strongly that we need to improve the standard of English in our schools and colleges and universities. This is essential. So coming back to the issue of social justice, in our religion, charity is, of course, it's enjoined. Every Muslim needs to participate in the system of charity in Islam. But more than that, it is vital for those who are at the bottom of our society to feel that they have a chance to rise through the ranks, that even though they may not be able to rise, that their children have an opportunity of breaking free of poverty. We must give that possibility. We must leave that possibility open for the children of the very poor. If they feel their children are condemned to a life of poverty, we as a society have failed. And social unrest is very natural in such circumstances. Everyone must be given an equality, the equality of opportunity, a chance to prosper, a chance to study, a chance to contribute to the society in every way. And I don't mean just the able-bodied. Even handicapped people who are relegated to the margins of our society, they are able to contribute in a meaningful way in many developed societies. We need to harness the energy of those who are handicapped, who are challenged mentally or physically. We need to bring them into the fold to use that enormous power. One reason I am very doubtful Afghanistan will ever make it as a country is that, for example, half their society, the women, are discriminated against, and they're not allowed to contribute to the society. This is a horrible mistake, and Afghanistan as a country will pay for it. We must ensure that there is a climate of non-discrimination. Sex, gender, gender, color, religion, all these discriminations are harmful for our society. If we have a talented person from a minority religion and we do not recognize his talent or do not place him in a position where he can use that talent, it's our mistake. It's the fault of the society. It's an inefficient decision. So on the grounds of economic efficiency, just like Singapore, I will say that we must not be a discriminatory society. I feel grossly offended when I hear that Hindu families are being attacked in some place in northern Bangladesh. There was attacks on Hindu families and the children were terrified. This is unacceptable. If they are citizens of Bangladesh, they must receive the full protection of the Republic and all its agencies. We are here for all the people of Bangladesh, not just the majority. And this has nothing to do with their religion, their color, their sex, or their sexual preference even. It has nothing to do with that. We must give them equal protection before the law. And I'm asking for this, or I'm suggesting this is important, not just because it's the right thing to do, which it is. I am saying this is essential because I do not want that human resource to be wasted, to be undervalued. I want to give it the maximum opportunity, every person in our society, to contribute to this society in a meaningful way, in a way that where they lead lives of dignity and are paid the proper salary, regardless of their religion, regardless of their skin color, regardless of what community they belong to, regardless of what region they come from, regardless of their sex. They must be given the opportunity to fulfill their potential as human beings. So I do this, I'm arguing not from a justice point of view, I'm arguing from an economic efficiency point of view. And I think that a lot of people will understand that the justice, some people don't believe in the social justice that I'm talking about. But in terms of economic efficiency, they will agree that what I'm suggesting is the only way to go if we want a rich, prosperous, and just society. Thank you very much.